Good morning. Thank you for coming. As the national economic slowdown continues to deprive Ohio of expected revenue, I am today ordering $540 million in budget adjustments in order to make sure that Ohio's budget remains in balance. This reduction comes in addition to the $733 million budget adjustment plan announced last January. And that then brings us to a total of $1.27 billion in budget adjustments over the current biennium. I believe this decision that we've made is the best way forward, given the challenging circumstances and the environment we face now and are likely to face in the months ahead. We are making tough decisions, but we're doing that while also protecting the core priorities, such as investing in education, providing health care to our children, and supporting tax reform that I believe will help revitalize our economy in the long run. Certainly the best long-term solution is to get the national and the Ohio economies moving again. When you look at our $1.57 billion jobs bill, when you consider our recently enacted energy bill, I believe Ohio is doing more today than any other state. But it's past time for a more aggressive and a more vigorous job stimulation package at the federal level. Today I call upon the federal government and the President to consider such action. The adjustment we are announcing today includes a 4.75% across-the-board cut to state agencies. We're doing that after holding harmless certain key programs, and while also protecting the tax reform that was passed by previous legislatures. And we are also protecting the newly established homestead tax cut, our children's health care expansions, and the tuition freeze for our state colleges and universities, as well as the increased funding for our local schools. I've decided not to ask the legislature for additional authority to use funds from the state's rainy day fund, primarily because I believe that those funds may be needed if there is further weakening in the national economy, as many are predicting. I think it's also safe to say that while it's raining now, I fear that there is a much larger storm looming ahead of us. Now, while we were able to protect core priorities, today's announcement will offer true challenges to our state employees. We honor the work that our state employees do every day, and I particularly am thankful to them for the work they do for Ohioans during this very difficult time. I would like to share with you the specific line items which are being fully exempted from these adjustments. The Medicaid line item 525, the Department of Education line items for foundation funding, for pupil transportation, for gifted pupil programs, and for special education enhancements, and for career technical education enhancements. Also exempt is the Board of Regents line items for OCOG, OIG, and SSI, and for the capital component. line item. We are exempting the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services line item for disability financial assistance. We're exempting the expositions line item for junior fare subsidy. And we are exempting all GRF line items within the Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, and all line items within the Department of Youth Services. We are exempting the ballot board advertising reimbursement, the Secretary of State line items for poll worker training and county postage reimbursement, for debt service line item is being exempt, and the line item related to tax relief, and all GRF line items for the legislative and judicial agencies. In addition, the Department of Taxation's revenue generation activities will receive a reduced cut of 2% across the board rather than 4.75%. And the Community and Hospital Mental Health Services line item, which is line item 408 in the Department of Mental Health, will receive a reduced cut of 2%. The budget reductions that are being announced today will result in $201 million less being spent by state agencies through June the 30th, 2009, and the remaining $339 million shortfall will be made up through a variety of cash management actions. And I have Perry Savity, our budget director, with me today to assist in answering any technical questions that you have about the budget or about this announcement. So at this time, I will attempt to respond to any questions that you may have of me. Thank you.
Governor, what about the Keno revenue? Is that coming in as expected, or what's happening with that?
My understanding is that at this point, the Keno revenue is coming in close to what was anticipated, so there have been no surprises there that I'm aware of. Perry, you have?
Yeah, we've had typical ramp-up issues associated with deploying new technology.